This weekend I made a Mewgenics escape room entirely by accident. With one hunter wearing a crown of pestilence for trap spreading, to synergize with his traps passive so that every square would be, well, traps, cheese for more HP, because this fight was going to be long and I had no way to heal poor Watson, Steven's Gobbler to bring his con to 12, because I was going to need every last bit of HP I possibly could to solo the boss with a very, very squishy hunter, a glyph of protection for armor on cast, which I would find out later only protects me from my clone's attacks, as all of C1000's direct attacks completely penetrate all shields and armor. And finally, a battery to give myself just a little bit more mana in hopes of doing the damage required to get through what I would find out is a 600 HP pool. Poor Watson, it can only do 1 damage per attack. First, I thought C1000 wouldn't be so bad to solo with Watson. He's got traps on basic attack, coupled with Pestilence allow him to just completely ruin C1000's ability to move. Next, I thought it would be pretty simple to just reset him after he copied my cat, send him to the far corner again with his own dodge chance, and if anything else was a problem, I'd stack armor with Glyph of Protection, heal a little bit with cheese, and dump more damage / distractions with some poor Pooter allies, who I could probably also sacrifice to Hunter's Boon Plus for more mana to easily just whittle him down while he couldn't move. But if you know anything about this channel, you'll know my plans always come out sounding pretty good, and then miss like a very, very basic mechanic and fall apart from the start. So, did you know he moves when you or anyone else move? I didn't. I'd only ever actually fought him once with a Death Scythe for the insta-kill. Did you know that this movement also completely ignores the immobilization debuff, allowing him to just charge across the map? Realizing my build only allowed 1 damage Pestilence and 1 damage for 3 mana with Re+, I was backed into my own corner with no way to kill the boss before exhaustion set in and we died. Naturally, this is the moment when I would give up on a fight. The plan failed, you sent 1 cat that can do 1 damage against an enemy with over 600 HP in his pool. Except I noticed something interesting. The traps, I could now make him eat 10 at a time, did about 5 damage. So technically, it would be possible to bait him across the map with myself and the flies, let him transform into me, given the right circumstances, reset his dodge, and then push him away to do it all over again. Thankfully, the game has identical RNG on each attempt of the same map. So if you move to the same squares, use the same abilities in the same order, you can recreate the exact same path you've already taken perfectly in another attempt. This means that somewhere a true path exists out of this pit of flaming bear traps. Suddenly, I knew this wasn't impossible, just an elaborate escape room with a true answer waiting somewhere. And I was not about to admit I lost to a puzzle. So the plan slowly started to take shape. First move, step in front of the boss. Second move, Pestilence, reap, and pause. If I reaped again, he would take damage but not dodge. Next, I'd Pestilence, or he would move down a row and his position would be off to the next step. Eat some cheese, back up a square, drop a Pooter 2 spots to my left. This drags him through more traps and gives me the optimal startup for round 3. It was all kind of starting to come together. Everything else was just slowly trying new things and then memorizing my movements and inputs. What I didn't learn until later was even seemingly inconsequential things were affecting my RNG. For instance, if I hit him with Soul Reap in round 4, my own fly will fail to move in an L-shaped pattern and go in a straight line instead, causing the boss to not be in position to reset his dodge and do more damage. The same is true later in round 6. If I ate cheese in round 5, while trying to get him to reset, he would dodge my next Pestilence and end up in a bad position where I couldn't reliably set him off again. These small things were a pain to keep track of. I'd often have an amazing run where the boss gets very low, but I've had no idea what I did to reach that point. Short of rewatching my own VODs, and suddenly the definition of insanity started to set in. I ran again and again, rerunning and redoing strategies I had tried hours before. I needed a break, or 2. I'm a little bullheaded when it comes to figuring out my ideal strategies in games, and continue to rub my face against C1000's new escape room for 3 days. By the 3rd day, I'd had everything mapped out until about round 10. He'd be below 300 HP, I'd be a little more wounded than I'd like, but the fight was forming and an end was visible. I learned a hell of a lot about how this boss functions, how dodge works, how the internal systems of RNG were designed, and what controlled it. Everything, it was everything. Enemy AI moves based on the locations of your characters, cats, familiars. All movement was connected. Then again, somehow connected to what attacks I'd used? I could do this. I had him at 229 HP, I knew most of how to get back to this stage, and Chaos, while something I couldn't control, had proven to be very devastating to C1000. So, I spawned all my pooters and prayed. $150 HP. 80 off with a single turn and him almost in melee range. Plus he'd carved out a path with his basic attack for an easy reset. I killed a pooter for full mana. I'd need this now that exhaustion was setting in and my power to spam pooters would soon dry up. I jumped onto a bear trap and waited for whatever might happen. I take a lot of damage from his clone spamming my brambles and setting everything on fire, but with a good reset here, we had a real chance. However small to just brute force to the end of this puzzle and pull a lock or two off without finding the solution. With his dodge reset, I pushed him away, setting up and baiting a pooter and holding my position. Ideally, I wanted to move one space down away from more burn damage as my HP was getting critically low. But I couldn't predict how close the boss would get, and with around 30% dodge left, I wanted to send him back to the corner if possible. 87 HP. 17 steps, 2 reaps, and he would die. Moving him to the corner was 15 steps. I could do this. The flies were my only hope. With burn stacks growing constantly, I wouldn't survive another 2 turns. So I needed as much damage as possible, as quick as possible. Unfortunately, I misclicked one of the pooter spawns, and this allowed him to walk up face to face with the barely alive Vatsan. This was it. He was inside the kill box, and I didn't have the health to survive a single hit. 2 pooters. That's all I had the mana for with exhaustion holding me down. I needed him to move. Just a single step, and I'd have freed myself from this challenge. Yes! We did it! He's dead! He's fucking dead! And now I get to keep him as a tiny liquid metal cat forever! Vatsan! Vatsan, you did it! You did it, you little bastard! You pulled it off! Oh, I'm so proud of you, I could just flush you down this drain immediately and send you to Butch. He's dead.